Hi viewers, welcome back to another very interesting episode of Carnatic Music. Everybody is invited, Season 2. We have done a lot of study of ragas in the previous season, and in this season we went in detail about ragamalikas. In the previous season we did touch upon thalas, and in the previous episode I talked to you about shrutis. So it looks like it's a while since we have touched thalas. So why don't we get back to our thala study today? It will be a very nice and interesting change, right? Okay. Now, there are 4 thalas that I spoke to you about. I introduced you to Adi Thala, Rupaka Thala, Mishra Chapu, and Khanda Chapu. Now, these are the 4 very popular, very common thalas that are there as far as compositions are concerned. But apart from that, there are certain other thalas too, which are not so popular but which are still there. Actually, for a minute, if you were to put aside these 4 thalas, that is the thalas that I have already spoken to you about, then we can look into the 7 major category of thalas seen in Carnatic music. So please remember, I am using the word category of thalas because the 4 thalas that I spoke to you are independent individual thalas. They are separate entities that I spoke to you about. Now here I am talking to you about categories, as in 7 categories of thalas. So just look at this: Dhruva, Matya, Rupaka, Triputa, Jhampa, Ata, and Eka. These are the 7 major categories. Aditala comes in one of these categories as one thala. As in, if there is a main heading, like actually Triputa, Adi will be one of the thalas in that. And the Rupaka that we commonly hear actually is one variant of this category. So for now, it's fine and enough to just know that thalas come in these categories. So the moment I say categories, you will keep wondering how many variants are there in each of these. Actually, all these 7 put together give rise to 175 thalas. But the point is, most of the thalas are higher order thalas, as in more like theoretical constructs. They are there definitely, they can be utilized, but the practical utility is not as much. They are wonderful thalas which do get utilized, but the more common thalas, the popular thalas are seen more. But these thalas are there, very much there, and that is what makes the entire thala system of Carnatic music so rich. Now, what I am going to do today is that since we have seen 4 popular thalas, I am just going to pick one thala from this list and introduce that thala to you. Okay? Because I want to take baby steps towards arriving at 175. At least, to tell you how we get 175 thalas, the how of it. But before that, instead of just jumping, head on into it, I'll make a small start with one thala. Now, don't you see this entry, Jhampa Thala? I will start with Jhampa. Now, Jhampa is a heading. Under that, there are many thalas. Each comes with the name Jhampa. I am going to talk to you about one Jhampa Thala, which is called Mishra Jhampa. Among the Jhampa thalas, the Mishra Jhampa option is most popular. So let us start understanding Mishra Jhampa Thala today. How does the thala go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mishra Chapu. I have told you about Mr. Chapu. What was the count in Mr. Chapu? I said it goes in beats of 7, I told you. Forget Chapu for a minute, just pick the word Mishra. What does that denote? 7. Same 7 is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is this segment called? This is called Lagu. While talking of Adi Thala, I introduced the segment Lagu. Now, this Lagu indicates that number that comes with the name. So, if it is Mr. Jhampa, it will be 7. Suppose I am, Khanda Chapu. Khanda Chapu also I introduced to you. Khanda is 5. So, if I am putting Khanda Jhampa, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 will stop here. 1, 2, 3. That is a part of the category Jhampa. Clear? So, 1 beat, Anudritam, Dhritam. Right? So, we have 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? So, now this is a thala in cycles of 10 beats. The point is, if this thala suddenly jumps out of mid-air and falls on the lap of the student when the student is doing kritis, obviously the kid will be bewildered. But our music, forefathers have been very, very thoughtful there. This list is introduced to kids right at the time they are doing their basic music lessons. So, the Varishais, the Sarali Varshai, Janta Varshai, at that time there is an exercise called Alankaram. In Alankaram, one variant of each of these 7 thalas, it is introduced to the children. So, suddenly you tell them that Jhampa Thala, they will not be confused. Yeah, we know. So, they will be very clear. Dhruva Thala, yeah, we know. So, these 7 names they know. They also know one variant. So, like for example, in Dhruva, it may not be the Mishra variant. It may be another variant. We'll go into that a little later. But for now, we are going to look at the Mishra variant of Jhampa Thala. So, now, what is the Alankaram that children learn? I told you that the one variant they learn. So, let us see. How does it go? Sa, re, ga, sa, re, ga, ma, re, ga, ma, re, ga, ma, pa, ga, ma, pa, ga, ma, pa, da, ma, pa, da, ma, pa, da, ni, pa, da, ni, pa, da, ni, sa, ni, da, ni, da, pa, ni, da, pa, ni, da, pa, ma, da, pa, ma, da, pa, ma, ga, pa, ma, ga, pa, ma, ga, re, ma, ga, re, sa. This entire exercise is taught to children to introduce them to the concept of putting the thalas different from the routine Adi Thala, which they would have learnt in the Janda Varishai and all. See, if you see sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, that is an Adi Thalam only. Sa, re, ga, ma, re, ga, ma, pa. the Janda Varshe. Sa sa re ga sa re ga ma ma re ga ma. All these exercises are only in Aditala. So what happens is children are so used to that, feel and tempo of beats of 8, beats of 8, beats of 8. So this Alankaram cuts that mindset and trains them to look at different numbers. So Dhruva Thala is a very long Thala. Mati Thala is slightly smaller. Rupaka is actually a much smaller Thala. And then Triputa is also smaller. Actually Dhruva is the longest. And then after that comes Jhampa, which is, it's a different structure. So, and then there is Atatala, which is again longer. And then Ekatala, which is a much smaller Tala. So what happens is children get introduced to different numbers. And see, one thing I want to tell you, that actually Tala is a very beautiful study. People are always scared of maths. I don't know why. And when it comes to difficult talas, then immediately everyone is scared. Actually, it's not like that. Numbers are beautiful. Numbers are, so amazing. We should just have a love for numbers. And I love numbers. So the point is, I enjoy, looking into different talas, their formations, and analyzing and studying them and singing them. It's actually a pleasure. So you will also enjoy numbers with me. So I have just introduced you to Mr. Jhampa today. I am very keen to sing some compositions, because there are compositions in this, so I would very much love to sing the compositions. Only thing is, didn't you see how long the thala is? So the composition also will be very long. So let's take it up in the next episode. You were watching Carnatic Music. Everybody is invited. Season 2.